We are Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar, giving you a raw take on movies, television, and pop culture. My name is Chris.
My name is Scott.
JB4 in the house.
Gary Rucker sitting in Pedro's seat.
Bam, bam.
Rucker. That's it, man. He's back again, the proprietor of the Rivertown Theaters over in Canberra.
Hello, bro.
And we'll do a quick run. Just give us a rundown of what's coming. We got the Odd Couple.
Actually, we're Odd Couple closed, and now we're like on our holiday hiatus.
Nice.
So I don't even I don't want to even waste time plugging anything, so we can dive in to the task at hand.
Fair enough.
wow,
But
okay.
look, in the meantime, just to real quick plug, go to rivertowntheaters.com. You spell it either way, R-E or E-R.
Yeah.
It'll bring you to the site, and it'll show you the schedule of
what's
everything
up.
they have upcoming. So.
I'd also like to point out this is the first time I've ever requested to be here. I usually just heed the call. But today I was like, I would really like to come on.
So you
this
were
show.
burning. You had a
The
burning
Rucker
desire
signal.
to be here.
Yes.
And to kick that off, to kind of segue from that, you know, this movie,
Justice League.
this movie Justice League is probably the most difficult movie that I've ever had to review. It's really, truthfully. So, but yeah, let's
Lot picking.
With spoilers. This is going to have
yeah,
spoilers.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna spoil.
I'm going to spoil
the
the shit out of it.
fuck
I'm
out
going to
of
do
this
you all a
thing.
favor.
Yeah. We're just
So.
going to cut it
All right.
wide open like a frog in biology
All right. Well,
class.
That's
first of
right.
all, who wants to start?
I want a bad cleanup on this one.
You want a bad cleanup? Who wants to start?
I'm going to say I hated it so much that I'm just going to
Oh, wow, okay.
If you guys take 10 minutes, I'll take the other 50 and just rant about
man.
this shit.
Oh, by all means. Okay, who wants to start? You want me to go? Scott,
I'll
go.
go.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, let me ask Scott a
I
question.
have money riding on this thing, so let's get this going.
Scott, we were texting back and forth, and he said he had two comments to make. One that I would be very happy about, and one that would add salt to the womb.
It would add salt to the womb. So in other
The
words,
womb.
no,
The
you know,
womb.
once you salt something, it doesn't grow anymore.
Right.
So no babies coming out of that womb.
I've never heard that expression before, so I'm
Yeah.
really interested to see what he has
Chris
to say.
just said it. That's
Salt in
it.
the womb. I just have questions for your wife more than anything.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh,
Come on.
come on, that was uncalled for.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I love Caleb.
Unless Scott has a womb.
He does have a womb. He has a womb where he keeps all of the souls.
We're off
you know,
topic already. We've
that's
already
it.
derailed.
we are,
this
yeah,
one.
exactly.
All right, so let's get on topic and let's drill down here into
Justice League.
So I'll give you my initial thoughts. This will surprise some of you. You know how I'm a big... Gary even said, he goes, you're going to really hate the CGI in the villain. Actually, the CGI in the villain didn't bother me that much in this movie.
Can I ask you a question?
Wait, no,
Were you
can't.
facing the screen?
The CGI...
Now,
go to the
Gary.
bathroom.
All right, so look, you requested to be on the show. I'm going to make a request. Let him talk, and then you can come in and you
sorry,
can bust his
I'm
balls.
biting my tongue so hard right now.
But just to let you know, this rule does not apply to me. Go ahead, Scott.
The CGI on Superman that they covered up his mustache was utterly terrible. It disturbed me and distracted me the entire film. So I gave Steppenwolf a pass, and as far as the CGI look of him. Weird. Yeah, the broness of Aquaman didn't disturb me too much until the end when he was just like, "My man, hey now, my man." I cringed every time he did it at the end. It aggravated me so much. And then I'm gonna actually tell Chris that he's 100% right on this next thing, in that because I kind of argued with him off camera, off radio, whatever, about Batman, about Ben Affleck being recast as Batman. I don't care anymore. He can go away, because that to me was the weakest link, even way more than the broness of Aquaman. He was the weakest link, and I'm 100% sure that one of the reshoots, besides all that terrible Superman stuff, was that scene where him and Diana just had the battle, and he says, I'm kind of getting too old for this shit. I feel like that was redone because he knew he was already out. And that is his way out,
Right.
so that the next movie's moving forward, whether he gets killed off or Nightwing or recast, I don't care. When this movie goes forward, when they do a Justice League 2, forget Batman. I'm done with him. That's all I got to say about that. With that said, I kind of enjoyed this movie a lot.
How dare you?
It was, it didn't bother me. It was, all those things I said bug me, but man, it was a superhero movie. You know, it didn't bug me. It didn't bug me. Gary is shaking his. Come on, you could just whatever.
It was every single DC superhero movie that we've already seen over and over and over again. So go.
We're going to give you a chance.
My
we're going to
veins
let you
popping out.
look.
Look at it. It's in my head.
Look, you're the guest. We're going to allow you to rant your ass off and carry this thing.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
All right. So, take in everything we say, and then you feel free to attack us.
But I see what you're saying though, like about how you kind of enjoyed it.
I did. It didn't bother me. Yeah. There was nothing that.
Not that I enjoyed it, but I'll tell you.
John, would you like to go next, or you want me to go?
I feel like you should be at least close to last, since you had mentioned on Not Real Radio that really the origins of this podcast were based on what you thought DC should do for a cinematic universe, and I was like, you should put that on the podcast.
Which, we're gonna cover that. I want to keep about probably 20 minutes for the show of moving forward as if we would do it. Fuck them. We're gonna do what we want to do with it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, go ahead with your review, John.
So my review is I'm very ambivalent on it. The stuff that I liked, I really liked, and the stuff I didn't like, I was like, I was Scott. How it's 2017. We deserve better, especially considering how much money has been spent on it. The stuff that I liked the post-credit sequences.
Yeah.
I liked I liked Superman. This was as close to a Superman that I had, the Christopher Reeves Superman, the kind of morally, North Star good. There wasn't any ambiguity there. I liked that he wasn't Demo Superman. I actually quite liked the standoff. I loved the scene where Flash was ambushing Superman and his eyes turned. That was fucking cool. Like I was down with that. And there were some banter scenes that were obviously Joss Whedon, like when they're exhuming the body, with Cyborg and Flash. Those moments I could tell. I'm like, this is where Joss Whedon tried to put the connective tissue. The action scenes, I don't think he redid anything. It's obvious Snyder to me.
Well, one of his directives was don't make it too Joss Whedon. It needs to fit the Zack Snyder style of everything. And I'm like, oh my God, why?
Exactly. Yeah. Now, what was fucking terrible was, number one, if this movie has amplified Wonder Woman's role with Joss Whedon's involvement, then she must have been just eye candy before in the Zack Snyder cut, because she was a wet noodle. She was, to me, the lamest performance. And, the exposition that I know Czar didn't like, she delivered it as if she was reading a book report. And I'm like, I know you're capable of a better performance, The CGI, Steppenwolf was fucking terrible. Terrible. Like PlayStation 2 level graphics, bad. And then the compositing was bad. Like especially when Superman was in the wheat fields, like you could tell that shit was shot on a green screen. Sometimes the backgrounds were floating behind them, like cable access level compositing, which I do that a lot for a living. So I was like, oh God, that's awful. Considering how much money you guys threw at this movie, this is terrible.
$300 million to make this movie, and that includes the reshoots.
But in terms of the performances, I pretty much liked everybody except Wonder Woman, but I don't blame her for that. And Batman was just sort of, he was what he was. But everybody else, Flash, Aquaman, was okay, except for my man. But, I don't hold the actors accountable for that shit. That was how they were directed to perform. The lasso scene was fucking great. I love the lasso scene on Aquaman. I thought that was funny and well done, and obviously Joss. So, like I said, I'm very ambivalent about it. What I liked, but when I didn't like it, I was like, oh God.
Yeah, I'm going to be very try to be quick with this. I'm just going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. The ugly is the CGI. It was fucking horrible. John, exactly what you said. Horrible compositing, like late 90s level, early 2000s level, like video game graphics on the villain, which is really sad because the actor that played that character is fucking great.
Who's the actor?
Sirion, I forget, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he played Mance Radar on Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
also
yeah.
he played Caesar in Bruno Heller's Rome,
Yes.
and he was
Shit.
fucking fantastic. But I don't blame him for this.
No.
I'll start out with the ugly. You know, that and the other thing, ugly also, man, like I couldn't believe whatever material or designing that they used on Batman and Superman's costumes. When they did close-ups, I'm not bullshitting you. I thought they were wearing fucking sequin costumes. That's how bad that shit looked.
Super burlesque.
It looked like sequins. I mean, the Batman thing, when he's pouring the whiskey with Wonder Woman, and you look at his suit, it looks like something he bought at Party City.
Can I say
mean,
something about
it's
that?
bad.
It's probably maybe one of the reasons why is because Zack Snyder wanted everything so dark, and he was
Right.
hoping maybe they wouldn't notice that, and they brightened the movie up.
It could be, Scott. It really could be. But I tell you, I mean, that's the ugly, and also in the ugly also is the story. The story, I mean, cookie cutter,
Yeah.
horrible shit, and I mean that's basically it. As far as the bad is concerned, Batman. I'm actually opposite from Scott. Batman is one of the most popular and greatest characters in the history of comics. No one has learned how to write this fucking character properly except Paul Dini from the fucking Batman animated series. And I'm tired of watching the character simply being the Caped Crusader.
Right.
Dude, show me why you're a fucking tactical mind. Show me why. Oh, well, it's all there in the movie, but I'm not going through it. 'Cause, yeah, right. Here's proof that he's the world's worst detective.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is, because everybody hands him the clues. Another thing that kind of aggravated me, too, about the Batman, call me a prude, I don't give a shit. He cursed too much. Mm-hmm. He cursed too much.
I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice either.
He
When
cursed.
when did he curse?
He said shit a couple of times, and then when he was driving his Batmobile through the industrial shit at the end, he said "son of a bitch" when the thing was attacking his Batmobile and it was blowing up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he cursed too much, and I think the other thing too is I don't blame, dude. I think physically,
Heavens to Betsy.
well, dude, I think physically, and no, dude, unfazed,
Okay.
unfazed, a smirk or a wince here and there,
Okay.
but unfazed.
Got it.
He's got ice water in his fucking veins, man. He's Batman, dude. And I don't have a problem with Ben Affleck. I actually think Ben is well suited for that role.
Yep.
I just think they don't write it well. They
Well,
do
right,
not
right.
write the character well, and it just sucks. Now let's talk about the good. And with the good, it is bittersweet. I sat there and watched things that happened in that movie. My heart was broken sitting there watching that movie, because I'm sitting there looking and saying, there were glimpses in this thing where this is how it should have been the entire time. But the problem with it is that it has been built on a foundation of dog shit. So when I sit there and look at that stuff, dude, Superman flying next to the Flash when he's running with the truck and says, hey, Slowpoke. I mean, shit like that
Yeah.
little banner between them. The Flash saves the people in the car, and he's flying with a fucking building.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
That's what you want. That's what you want the whole
the
time.
only Batman speech that I enjoyed, the only Batman thing that redeemed anything of that horrible fucking, not performance, the horrible writing of that character, is when the Flash looks at him and says, I'm scared. I've never been in a fight outside of pushing somebody and running away. And he says, just save one person. And he says,
Yeah.
what do I do after that? You'll have the rest of it all figured out. That scene was fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end credit scenes were the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
but
isn't that a shame?
then again,
That's exactly what I said.
But then again, when I see the end credit scene, I'm sitting there looking, and I mean, dude, my theater like gasped and fucking applauded when that scene happened. But I'm sitting there the whole time. I mean, dude, even like, I mean, I got the goosebumps when I saw the end scene with its Deathstroke the Terminator meeting with fucking Lex Luthor. And when I sit there and look at it, I'm like, dude, this should have been from day one. Now,
Yep.
now you're trying to save this thing, and you can't fucking save it. And it goes to show you, and I'm just going to whip the stats here real quick before Gary gives his review. This movie was projected to make $120 million in its opening weekend. As it got closer and closer and closer, they continued to downgrade that number. So they continued to do that shit. it eventually, they wanted 120. It came down to 96. And then today they had to adjust it to 94 because it was even lower. So you have all of this crap, and you look at what it goes. Superman Man of Steel opens up at $103 million. That was its opening weekend. Batman vs. Superman opened up at $166 million. Suicide Squad opened at $135 million.
Golly.
Wonder Woman opened at $112 million. Now, you coming off of Wonder Woman, which was only released less than 6 months ago, and is one of top 3 of one of the hottest movies of 2017. Still fucking trucking, still making money in some theaters. And even from the hype of that, it could not draw people into this theater.
It's still baffling to me.
It's not
Like,
baffling to me at all.
Not-
It's
not
fucking horrible.
Okay.
It's built on shit. Batman versus Superman is a piece of shit. End of story. It's garbage.
Bad.
It's trash. And now you're going to try to carry on something from trash. And, dude, yeah, I sound passionate about it because I love these characters. And it makes me mad when I sit there and finally they get the right fucking guy and they run the fucking town goon up the fucking road to get the right guy to come in and polish a turd. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, watching this shit where there's old armies fighting against Steppenwolf with Green Lanterns flying in the sky, fucking hitting shit with big green fist. Sitting there saying, God damn, man, fuck, this is what it should have been. If they would have had Whedon from the beginning, oh, it would have beat Marvel. Nah, dude, who gives a fuck? It would have been good movies. I don't care if they beat Marvel. I just want them to be good.
We're going to circle back on that, right?
Because
Like,
these characters are great.
Like once Gary takes the swords out and does his thing, we're going to come back and sort of do an overall like Monday morning quarterbacking, right?
Yeah, certainly. All right, so Gary, look, you got the floor, buddy. Rock
No, I
and
mean,
roll,
like
man.
you pretty much echoed my passion. Like it's strange that we agree so completely on something. I've never been since I was a little boy. I've been a DC fan. I still have from when I was a little boy. I still have all of my DC action figures still in my house, right?
Wow.
And it's all I've ever wanted to see was the Justice League on screen. And for me, who's never been a Marvel fan, to enjoy the Marvel Cinematic Universe as much as I do, and to absolutely hate the DC Universe, even though those are my favorite characters, it's something. And you said something
Shame.
like you enjoyed it while you were sitting there, right, Scott?
I did, yes.
And that's during Batman versus Superman. There were times I'm like, all right, like I'm fine. And then afterwards, in hindsight, I'm like, you know what? Fuck that movie, right? I couldn't
too.
even get to that point in this movie because there were so many missed opportunities and so many drop balls. And I have to compare it to the Marvel universe. I have to because that's kind of how you do it right. You know what I mean?
They brought in Joss for a reason.
All the
Right.
shit that's sitting in the Marvel universe is because of these fucking characters.
Right.
And these assholes can't get it right.
Right.
Half of Marvel's Rockstar roster is ripped off of DC fucking characters.
And I have to say this, having now watched the Justice League movie, I no longer need to see the Aquaman movie or the Flash movie. It completely talked me out of giving a shit about either of those two characters or watching their solo movies. Like, I didn't like them enough in this movie or care about them enough to want to go sit through 2 hours of just them. I liked Cyborg and I loved Superman because I'm like, oh, they're letting him have a good time. He's lightened up. He's like the kind of like you know your fun uncle Superman that everybody loves, like the Christopher Reeve Superman. Like that's what he was.
And what I loved about it is when they put that heart to him, this is something they've never done in a Superman movie. They lightened him up to where he was kind of not, you can't even get the greatness of what Reeves was in the first two movies, but you kind of echoed that stuff of what you like about Superman.
Right.
Dude, he fucked shit up, and that's the way it should be. But the problem with it is, it's like my friend said about episode 1. It is your favorite birthday cake with icing made of dog shit.
Exactly.
That's exactly
well,
what
the other
it
thing
is.
too is it's like what Marvel does so well is it always kind of winks at the fans. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
DC doesn't know how to do that.
Way too much in Thor 3.
All right, well, I don't want to fight about Thor 3 because that was one of my favorite movies of the year. But I've already I yelled at my radio during you talking about Thor 3. But listen, all right.
Hey, you want to hear something fucked up? I like this movie better than Thor 3.
You're out of your mind.
And this movie,
This is the last podcast.
this movie,
This is the last episode.
this movie was a shit burger.
I think you just
and I thought that
admitted
this
to losing.
movie
Oh, God.
was better than that fucking
Let's stay getting
garbage.
along today. Let's stay doing that.
So go ahead.
in the very beginning, there's that random cat burgling something, and like Batman's perched on the ledge. And I'm like, make that Calendar Man, make it the Riddler, make it any of Batman's villains as a wink to us, the fans. That's like, oh, it's that guy, instead of some random nobody who kind of forgot to be afraid. You know what I mean? Like the Bug flies in and he's like, oh, Bug. Like, it's like, dude, run away. You're a burglar and you're not afraid. But I'm like, that's like in Winter Soldier.
It's similar to Thor. It's similar to Loki trying to tell the Grandmaster that he doesn't know these two guys, but he gives off 12 clues that he actually knows them.
No, but my point is like in Winter Soldier, the big ship battle in the beginning, the main baddie is like, that's a Captain America villain. It's like a nod to, if you don't know who he is, it's no big deal. But if you do, then cool.
Crossbones.
But like none of that. You know what I mean? Like none of those. No, not Crossbones. The kick guy. What's his name? The guy who kicks.
Crossbones.
No, not Crossbones.
Frank Grillo plays the.
No. It's the guy. It's the guy who like kept going up on his arm and kicking him. He's a Cap villain, and I can't think of his name. But the French guy. Never mind. Anyway,
okay, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, right.
Yeah, it's the guy he fights. It's when Crossbones is still on his team. Regardless. All right. So there's an opportunity for like a little wink to the fans, and I'm so sick of. Just because it's the villain of the movie, it doesn't have to be a giant CGI monster.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Loki's a great villain, and he's just a dude. You know what I mean? Like Yondu is a great he's just a guy.
Loki's not a villain though. Loki's only a villain in one movie. He's been upgraded to being
but it was a great movie, and he was a great villain in that movie. My point is, you don't have to like CGI a big giant thing for them to beat up on. You know what I mean? And like in Marvel, there's a chance that one of them may die. Whether he stays dead or not is a thing. In this, it's like, all right, none of them are gonna die. We don't.
You actually believe that people will die in a fucking Marvel movie? You believe that?
They killed Quicksilver.
Yeah, finally.
But
finally.
my point is, they did
the saga of fake death, and you actually believe that somebody's going to die.
Whether they die or not.
But they did one. You see what I mean?
I never believed for a minute those characters die. For a minute.
But that's okay. At least there's a chance that they might pretend to kill them, so there's some stakes in that fight. It was like...
Then why did they joke it away? I mean, dude, if somebody's going to fucking kill me, I'm taking it seriously. But after I bust their ass, I'll crack a joke.
My point is, you got big, giant CGI monster fighting a bunch of little immortals, so no one's going to get hurt. No one's gonna die. And then, all right, well, you gotta bring Superman in because none of you can do this. So he comes in and like blows some frost on the weapon, and that was kind of the thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't care. None of you are in danger. There's no stakes to this. It's the same fight for 3 hours. Let Steppenwolf be the Act 1 villain. He name dropped Darkseid randomly one time. Well, then bring him in for the final battle.
Well,
you know
that's what they were gonna do. And then
but it's like
Joss
their whole
wrote that
playbook
out.
is like they keep calling audibles on their own playbook, and it's just fucking up everything they're doing. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm so over the DC cinematic universe. I'm just done with it.
It's like building a house in the swamp and not having any pylons under it, dude.
It's just
That's what
like,
it is.
I don't give a shit anymore. I didn't even go see Wonder Woman in the theaters, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's amazing," and I'm like, "Okay, great." I don't want to go. I just don't want to go. And
have you seen it?
Yeah, I finally saw it when I got it on video, and it's like I enjoyed it. It was fine. I didn't think it was God's gift to the cinematic universe that everyone thought it was, but it was fine. I enjoyed it, but. All of Zack Snyder's movies, none of them have evolved or progressed. They all even this movie seemed very dated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just seemed like everything he's done over and over for years. He's bringing nothing new to it. It's the same bullshit. And their armor was shit, and it all looked alike.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree.
Like they shopped at
the
same
parademons looked horrible.
Right, but I'm like, when
you
look at
the hero characters looked horrible.
You look at the Avengers; they're all from different places. They're all from different worlds and backgrounds, and all of their costumes reflect that. Whereas this, it's like you look like you.
Yeah.
And Cyborg, I'm like, it looked like Megatron. I'm like, what is that shit?
Well,
and it wasn't until he reformed it at the end. I'm like, oh, all right, well, there's
I like the
something.
kid that played him though.
I liked him a lot. Yeah.
I liked him because it's this whole thing. Well, dude, he's nothing but a robot. Dude, you got to be a good fucking actor.
He was great.
To play
and he was,
that.
Like,
to
he had a
play
great
that
voice.
kind of
yeah,
shit.
I really liked him a lot, but. I don't know, man. It's like there were those glimpses of like when him flying through on the house. Like that's genuinely funny. Like Barry Allen acting kind of crazy and like really high strung and like I was like it's like annoying and it's over the top. Stop it. But when you have a genuine moment like that, it was hilarious. And I'm like that's what could have been. So it made me so pissed off at everything else that wasn't that. Because it was capable of it.
And there's a lot of that.
Here's a chocolate chip cookie, dude. By the way, I wiped my ass on
God,
it.
it was
that's what it is.
It was infuriating. That got to the point where I'm like, I can't even enjoy this because like you're giving me a little glimpse of happiness and then just completely shitting on it.
I have a question for you guys real quick. Getting back to the first scene. Yeah. What was the point of that? Like, was that a trap set for a parademon?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, when he like lowers him, he's like, they feed on fear. Conveniently.
Right.
Because Flash was scared most of the time and they never bothered him. You know what I mean? But But it
So
didn't have to
there's
be,
been appearances because they're there because
I feel like we've
why?
seen that same animal or the same
I
bug
mean-
thing in every movie so
Well,
far.
the thing with it is that they built on from Batman versus Superman because if you remember, he has the vision, which they call nightmare, spelled with a K. You
Right.
know, and he
Right.
has the thing where there's all that shit all over the place.
Right, yes.
And Batman knows they're here. You know, he's a great detective just because we assume that because he's
Right.
Batman, not because they wrote it well, just
Right.
because he's fucking Batman and we just
Right.
automatically assume
Does-
that.
yeah.
So he sets these traps in order to try to drag
Yeah.
these things out because he knows they're there. And the parademons are there as the heralds of Steppenwolf to try to locate the fucking mother boxes.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing: they're supposed to be essentially scouts that I guess get peckish and want to eat terrified people. So that's how Batman.
but are
defines
they?
it.
We don't
Right,
know. Yeah.
Right.
don't
Right.
know.
But then what happens is the mother boxes become columns of energy, and then they just fucking show up. So what was that whole scouting?
Bad writing.
Mission about.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
that
I have
is.
no idea what that was about.
Here's
Right,
something.
bad writing.
That's Zack
Oh,
Snyder
and-
going, I want a cool scene where Batman fucks with a parody.
And here's the other funny.
Yeah.
It's already kind of a slow movie. So let's slow it way the fuck down by bringing Lois Lane and Martha Kent in and just kind of chat for a bit.
I
about
didn't
shit
really
we
think the
already know.
movie. Honestly, I thought the movie was paced fine. It was choppy as fuck,
Yeah.
but it was paced pretty well.
Better than Batman
and,
versus
and
Superman.
Going right
Much
back.
better, yeah.
Oh, and that didn't say much.
Right.
But going back to what you said, I was in demand to do a review for somebody and also do the review for this show because it's like John said, this show was formed because of what DC should be doing.
Right.
That's the reason this show exists today. And I, honestly, if I didn't if we would have kind of talked about it, we would have been like, all right, Justice League, man, all that stuff and everything. I probably wouldn't have saw it opening night.
Right.
I would have probably saw it when I could see it.
Right.
But I made a conscious effort. I got out there. I bought my ticket Thursday morning. Here's another thing: the theater I went to on Thursday. To be fair, the Dolby is all sold out.
Right.
If you're not from New Orleans, we have a theater locally here that's a Dolby, and we have an IMAX also, which is a large auditorium style seating. I was able to snag a perfect seat in IMAX, and when I got there, no bullshit, 30 people in that theater.
Yeah, I saw it with about
30
15 people
people.
Friday
I
morning.
saw it in a Saturday morning in a packed theater, and
It was all
You were in
kids, right?
Dolby or you were in IMAX?
regular. I was in
Yeah, regular standard. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
and packed theater, and just like with Chris, like.
But
when
was it lots
ended,
of families?
It's just people.
Great crowd.
Yeah, and when nobody was talking on their phones, none of that shit. So,
Right.
and when it ended, I'm saying before the credit scenes, before the end credit scenes, when the credits hit, applause.
Because it was
like, oh.
over. Well, here's my thing. Too. Here's my thing too about the Legion of Doom setup. You've not earned that.
That
You know what I
should
mean?
have been
Like-
this movie, quite
Dude.
honestly.
Well, here's the thing. Then you needed to introduce a couple of those guys in your Batman movie, and you need to introduce a couple of those guys.
I'm
in
going
your
to get
Superman
into
Yeah.
We'll get into
Well,
that.
Let me
Yeah.
just
see
say
what I mean?
this
Yeah.
that nobody's brought up yet. They bring back Superman back from the dead. There's one big glaring hole. They also brought back Clark Kent. Does he go work at the newspaper?
They don't cover that.
No one's
He's
questioning
a,
it.
he's a zombie now. I mean, who they helped him move into his house? Who helped him move into his house? His local neighbors probably did. And they're like,
don't-
How
I
are you?
don't-
We saw you
Because
die.
the thing with it is that when you also rush the Doomsday storyline and you kill him and you don't sit there and build it properly like it did in the comic and you realize that Clark Kent actually never ever died like he did in the comic,
Right.
then you plausibly are able to do that.
Right.
But when you have bad writing and you have Zack Snyder, captaining your franchise, it just kills me the amount of internet nerds that fucking defend this shit to the hilt.
I don't know
and
how you do it
defend
anymore.
that asshole. Dude, they got a fucking petition going right now that they want Zack Snyder's cut of this movie. No, thank you. I saw the polished turd. I don't need to see the
Yeah, I don't need to see it
unpolished
get
one.
worse.
I just,
No.
I just need for the record to say that I did like this movie, even though I shit on it a lot. I would watch it again if it came on TV.
I never need to see this ever again.
I don't think it
Honestly.
wasn't like Suicide Squad for me. I didn't get that feeling in my stomach like, oh god.
But here's the
this
thing.
is
I didn't
terrible.
care about Suicide Squad. I
Yeah.
cared deeply about this.
Yeah.
Like
But
you
this
know
was,
what
this
I
was
did-
my Avengers for all the Marvel fans.
I am
you know what I mean?
excited
Like
about-
I waited for this.
I am excited about the Flash. I don't know why, but
I just don't.
Aquaman no, but the Flash, yeah, I really want to see that.
I mean,
movie.
we met Mara.
too.
She didn't do much for me,
Nope.
so don't need to see a movie.
Well,
with
that's
her
the
in it.
thing, though. You packed a lot of characters in this movie. And the thing with it is hold on, let's see where we at. Okay, look, let's pause real quick for our station identification here. You are listening to Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar.
Television.
Movies.
Pop culture.
Keep up with the latest news from Luke Skywalker all the way to Batman.
From Netflix to the CW.
And all the news in between.
Please subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
Or stream our episodes from PPVGuys.com.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at PPVGuys.
Check out our friends Not Real Radio at NotRealRadio.com for our segment Not Real Movie News.
Should you listen to more? Yes. Will you agree? Maybe.
Jury's out.
Indeed.
Thank you for listening.
And action. All right, so now that we've moved past all that stuff, okay, look, let's get into the bones here, and we'll go back and just share brief history about PPV. Real quick, John Scott and I were texting each other, Facebook messaging one another, talking about the fuck-ups that DC was making toward their universe. At the time, we only had Man of Steel. That's all we had at the time when we started filming, recording. In fact, our first episode of this show was the announcement that Ben Affleck was starring as Batman.
Right.
So that would be probably around maybe like what, 2013 maybe, about that.
2014.
2014. So yeah. So there it is, and that's how it started. And then eventually we decided, hey man, we should be recording these conversations and talking about this shit because it's kind of fun. And that's where all this was done. I mean, I think that there's probably we're in a sea of people that do the same shit. And some of them do it better than us. Some of them do it worse than us, but we have a good time talking about the stuff that we love.
And you have microphones.
And, of course, hate. Yeah, and we got recording equipment. So,
right.
So suck on that.
So that's good. Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, I'm an entitled fanboy. I mean, I have my shit, and I'm going to do my thing. So, anyway. So, yeah, I had somebody ask me earlier today, based on the Justice League movie, what would you edit? But here's the rules I'm going to give you. You have to use the movies that they've already released. In other words, if you want to rebuild Justice League the way it's supposed to be rebuilt, and you want to lead up to that, you have to use the format of Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and that's the only, you have to use those movies to build yourself toward it. Well, it's fucking easy. Leave Man of Steel exactly the same, except make the character fucking not mopey. Yep. Make his costume bright blue and give him a scarlet cape, and don't have him watch his father die. I mean, and what you also do is that you retool the fucking end scene of this movie and make that the final credit scene of Man of Steel, to where you're lining up people automatically. And then you use Batman versus Superman to put fucking Lex in between them, just like you did in there, but you make it plausible to where Lex is actually doing some serious rebuilding of Metropolis instead of sitting there and trying to only steal spacecrafts and be a kooky version of Steve Jobs and some fucking idiot. And I mean, build that from there, use Suicide Squad to round out where your Legion of Doom comes from, and then fucking launch it in Justice League. And fuck the whole Apocalypse storyline. Fuck it. Because the thing with it is, dude, is you pull in Darkseid. Thanos is a ripoff of Darkseid. That's what he was. Jim Starlin said straight up, I love Kirby's Fourth World. I thought it was great. We need to do something to beef up the Marvel Cosmic Universe. I created Thanos. Even to the point he looks like the fucking Darkseid character. Mm-hmm. Same facial structure, same helmet, same everything. Yep. So somebody at Warner should have been smart enough to sit back there and say, Marvel's going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to be viewed as ripoffs, even though it's our shit. So let's turn on nostalgia and fucking make a ramped-up version of the Super Friends versus the fucking Legion of Doom.
Right.
And that's what it should have been from the very fucking beginning.
I disagree.
I don't, because you know what?
Agree.
That's what we all grew up at. I mean,
that's what I want.
Casual,
I want Justice League versus Legion of Doom.
That's all I want.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
And I want to compliment you on your use of the term "fucking idiot" because I totally agree with it.
Yeah, right. I mean,
here's my takeaway from this was you guys were so desperate to shove everything in one fucking movie. Like, even if it were 2.5 hours, it's not enough time. You should have done just follow Marvel's formula and believe in your characters enough that they can carry their own movie. Give me a Batman, give me a Flash, give me an Aquaman, give me a Wonder Woman, give me a...
I don't...
And then put them all together. You know, Cyborg could be... Because I was just thinking, I was like, well, Cyborg had some interface with the mother box. That could have been the signal that brought Steppenwolf to the fray. That, you know, so his origin story could be what brings them together, you know, but as it stands, and I've been pretty vocal on this, is that Snyder was never interested in telling a story. He just wanted his name on the cinematic realization of classic scenes. Like,
Yeah.
I would have eliminated the Doomsday fight at the end of Batman.
Oh,
That wouldn't even
have been part of the movie.
Yeah, like
They had to kill him in that so that he couldn't be around for most of Justice League.
right. So I mean,
That was it.
like he had to jam the death of Superman into the second fucking film. Like, it was insane. Too much, too soon. They should have spread it out.
They should have
And yeah, they would have gotten knocks for following Marvel's formula, but it's their fucking characters.
Here's
and
the
it
thing.
would've
I
been
would say, like,
amazing.
walk in their footsteps all day long
Yeah.
if it's good.
Right.
You can say they're following Marvel's formula, but they're doing it right, and then you get a pass. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like they're so deliberately trying to not do what Marvel did. They can't get it to work.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you go back and you do the Marvel thing, I mean, if you could be a messenger from the future, going back to fucking DC and going to Jeff Johns and all these guys, but I don't blame Jeff Johns or John Berg because these guys
No.
have been fighting for control over the last couple of years to finally. I read an article the other day that now Jeff Johns is basically equivalent to Kevin Feige. He doesn't answer to anybody.
Right.
Like, he doesn't have to answer to the DC collective anymore.
Right.
He goes directly to the top of Warner Brothers.
Right.
So, and that's the same thing with Kevin Feige. He broke away from Ike Perlmutter to where he could control shit on his own. So he's even out of the purview of Marvel itself.
Right.
So, you know, I think that if somebody could run back and be messenger boy from the future,
The Flash,
I mean,
maybe?
the way, yeah, I mean, if the Flash, if Barry Allen was real, and we could send him back as a messenger to, you know, to really avert a real crisis of the Infinite
Joss
Earths
Whedon's the
on
key!
film.
I mean,
Yeah, right, exactly. But I would have just did it this way. I would have told him, I said, look, man, this is how you got to do this shit. Your biggest characters are Batman and Superman, but they're not your biggest characters. They're the world's biggest characters. Out of the fucking chute, release a Batman movie and a Superman movie. Out of the
Exactly,
chute.
yeah.
Reboot them and shoot them immediately. Follow it up with Wonder Woman. Follow it up with The Flash. Introduce Aquaman and Cyborg in the fucking Justice League movie. And you got 2/3 of the team already introduced.
What
Yeah.
about Green Lantern?
You can bring him in even later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
they
don't need
teased him
him
in this, and they're
immediately.
supposed to be doing Green Lantern Core, which is, again, I don't
Never.
Who
care.
gives a fuck?
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Can I
You
go?
know
Can
what
I?
mean?
Can I tell you how?
No,
I think
yeah,
so?
dude.
So I think what you have to do at the end of the Man of Steel movie is drop in Lex Luthor to, like, kind of see what happened, and at least he's there. You
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Right.
So that way, when you get to Batman versus Superman, we already know who that is. So who's he working
Right.
with? So you drop in another villain. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, if you start peppering in, like, there's no reason at all we shouldn't have had Cheetah in the Wonder Woman movie. You see what I mean? Like,
Right.
because she's not going to be the main villain, but she's there creating mischief and just enough havoc that she'd then be on Lex Luthor's radar. So by the time we get to the Legion of Doom movie, we've already kind of collected a few
Right.
of these people.
I
We
thought
already kinda know
I
them.
thought the Wonder Woman movie was effective. I thought it was good.
It was effective, but not in terms of setting up the rest of the universe if they're going to do Legion of Doom.
I thought it was great setting up the character, though, who has never been featured in a movie before. I think that they did very well with that.
Yeah.
That wasn't a problem.
Yeah, no, a standalone movie, it was fine. But if you're trying to make it part of this bigger picture,
If you're
well, then,
universe building, it's not.
yeah,
fun.
you got to still
See-
build the universe. So if you're kind of peppering in those villains, even if they're not the main thing, even if they're like one scene of, like, she gets to the future and there's Cheetah or something, and that she has to, like, deal with that before something else. I don't know, but at
Right.
least you've met her. So when Luthor is starting
Right.
to collect all his people, you at least know they're all out there. Because right now we're going to have to, I'm sure there's going to be more Justice League members, and also the entire Legion of Doom, and we don't know who Deathstroke the Terminator really is yet.
Right.
Or
Well, I'll
Cheetah,
tell you one
or
thing, though.
so.
Boy, he looked fucking awesome. I mean, like, he looked like he walked off the
did.
page
And
of
the other,
comics.
oh no,
man.
he was, yeah, he
God,
looks
man.
fantastic. And the thing is, I'm like, why is this? It's the most interesting and most exciting part of the whole movie. Why is it not in the movie?
Yeah, right.
Why am I
Right.
waiting? So I just feel, and like when you look at the actual Legion of Doom, it's a lot of Flash villains. You know what I mean? It's a few Aquaman. It's like Toyman. Toyman could have been the dude he's dangling off the edge of the building.
So let me ask you this question:
Throw him in. Just throw him in.
Just for fun, let's talk about it. So if we set up the Justice League the way it is now, which is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash, what villains do we want to use to actually make a Legion of Doom? Who do we want to use?
I don't even think it matters at this point because
well, look, man, we're fantasy dreaming,
no, I know,
dude.
but
I mean, look, we've let this go, but I mean,
think you have to scale it down to their villains because in the cartoon, it's like each one of them had like one or two of their like nemesis on that council. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if we don't know Hawkman, we're not going to know Hawkman's nemesis. You know what I mean? So
my point is the ones that I would go with. I mean, you got Superman and Lex Luthor are built in.
Right.
I mean, you got that already. Batman's obviously the Joker.
Right.
The Flash, I don't know, dude. Even though it's been done on TV, man, fucking Captain Cold. Either Captain Cold or the Mirror Master.
I think it has to be Captain Cold.
Or the Mirror Master. He's another huge fucking Flash villain.
But in the Justice in the Super Friends, it was
yeah,
Captain
but I
Cold.
mean, you don't have to follow it verbatim. You can go with other villains to make things interesting.
but then it's really not the Legion of Doom.
right.
well, but I mean, but
You know what I mean?
okay, but I mean,
But it could be.
like
I see your point. I
Sinestro
see your
has
point.
to
We're-
be. Sinestro has.
Sinestro's
got
to be there.
I mean, but the Guardians of the Galaxy that we're watching now, are they really the Guardians of the Galaxy? No. They are now, but they weren't.
No, I know, but the Legion of
So, I
Doom's
mean-
pretty much been that lineup.
But what I'm saying
You know
is
what I
you
mean?
can change it up. And
Yeah,
you
no,
can-
I'm with you. I'm with you. So
I mean, that's all I'm saying.
can I tell you? Can I tell you one last fix for the Justice League movie that would lead into that?
What's
Why is he
that?
fighting Steppenwolf? Let them fight Brainiac.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Brainiac could-
That would have been
Yeah.
fucking
That
great.
was one of my
You see
favorite
what I mean?
villains.
and you know what you could have made, and that would have been a
Because
good way.
Brainiac's in the Legion of Doom. They
And
can
not only
resurrect him.
not only Brainiac, but the thing with it too is that's where your cyborg connection is.
Yep.
Right.
Is with Brainiac. And the way you get Brainiac is Brainiac is actually growing itself from the crashed Kryptonian ships.
Yep.
Because Brainiac was Krypton's supercomputer. That's his origin. So you could have built that from right
the
there and
rumor
said
for a
fuck,
long
and
time,
fuck Steppenwolf.
The
Yeah.
second Superman movie for a long time was supposed to be like everybody thought it was going to be Brainiac because there's so many good Brainiac stories. But I mean,
Yeah, there's
he's
great
in
ones.
Legion of Doom. I mean, maybe they thought it was too close to Ultron, but I don't give a shit because it's not like they nailed that movie.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
one
that's
up
the
them.
worst
There's your
one.
chance. One up them.
And we could have gone up with a modified version of the Brainiac from the 80s that looked like a fucking T-800 from Terminator.
right with the giant like
with the
clear
giant
brain
clear
tan.
brain cap and shit. Oh, that would have been awesome. That would have been fantastic.
So there you go. You got him. You got Flash. You could put Gorilla Grodd in there.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
Oh,
Grodd-
I mean,
but Grodd
what
needs a
about-
movie.
What about
I love
Bizarro?
Bizarro. I was just saying that.
Like you gotta
You're
have
never
Bizarro.
gonna have Bizarro, but I'd
No,
love
no,
Bizarro.
no.
Well, we could have
Bizarro.
had Bizarro if Lex would have did that instead of making Doomsday.
Yeah.
That could have
Ah,
actually
see,
been
and
pretty
I had
interesting.
read. I remember back in the day when they were doing Batman versus Superman that was the rumor that it was going to be, that it was going to be.
That would have been
Bizarro.
awesome.
Right.
And if you would have made Bizarro the way that he is, to where you would have made him like a threat but kind of goofy and funny,
Right.
how awesome would it have been if that character caught on really well and you could actually do a Bizarro World
Oh, God,
spin-off
spin-off.
movie?
That'd be amazing.
Because
But,
y'all
like,
know about that, right? Bizarro, like when Superman, like, it's basically like the thing is Superman goes to Bizarro and he's like, look, dude, the reason you're pissed off is because you're like me. You're different. And you think you got to fight me and everything. So I tell you what, man, look, I'm going to find a place for you to live. So he finds an alternate dimension in Elseworld. And
Who's this?
Bizarro.
Bizarro.
Okay.
Clark finds that for him.
Oh.
So he goes in his Bizarro world, which is our Earth shaped like a cube. But there's
Okay.
Bizarro versions of all the fucking Justice League.
right.
Where did
members.
Bizarro come from? What are his origins?
He's Frankenstein. He basically Lex Luthor created him to fight Superman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the nice
gotcha.
thing is, in the Aquaman movie, Black Manta's already cast.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that'll
yeah.
happen. I don't know who
So
the
we'll get
villain is in the
Black
Flash
Manta.
movie. What?
So we'll get Black. Well, that's the thing. They don't know. They don't even know what the Flash
Right.
movie.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
well, they better
If
pick
Black
Gorilla
Manta-
Grodd and somebody else.
If Black Manta doesn't have the fucking, I mean, whatever with this
The
movie
scuba
already.
helmet,
But
yeah.
if you don't have the big scuba helmet,
Forget
fuck
it.
it. Forget
Yeah.
it. That's fucking stupid.
I think the biggest mistake of this whole franchise was just steamrolling with Zack Snyder and letting him go right into Justice League.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge mistake.
I
Yeah,
think
they put all their eggs in that basket,
did.
and that's where it went wrong.
Bad.
I could be totally wrong, but this is what I think what happened. What happened was they came in, Nolan came off of 3 very critically acclaimed, a critically acclaimed, highly profitable Batman franchise.
Yeah.
They looked at it and they said, okay, look, we're not going to fight against the averages. This shit obviously sells. So what we're going to do is we're going to make them Justice League movie in that vein and kind of make it this mock realistic retelling of these characters. It worked for Batman, obviously, except they didn't realize it didn't.
Right.
So we're going to go to Nolan. Nolan said, "Fuck this, I'm out. I don't want to direct this thing. I got other shit I want to do. I don't want to do any more superhero movies." Well, dude, look, we made a grounded reality R-rated superhero movie a few years ago. Granted, it didn't do great, but the thing with it is it was at least still successful, and the guy's good with the material. Call Snyder, get him in here. And that's probably how all this came to be. But the thing with it is they didn't realize that Marvel, because I mean, dude, Iron Man 1 came out the same year as fucking Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they came out
earlier.
at the same time.
And the thing, too, is, like, I think there was way less pressure on the Marvel Cinematic Universe just because those characters don't have the stature of Batman and Superman. They're always going to have more pressure.
That's the fuck thing.
And I think Zack
Batman,
Snyder...
Superman, Wonder Woman, like all of these...
Iconic.
They're very iconic. Who the fuck is Ant-Man? What the fuck is Ultron? Nobody knows who that is.
But here's the thing, though. Like, Ant-Man, Iron Man, those guys have flaws, and they all have something that makes them human, where all the DC characters
but
really
I think,
don't.
But I think the point Scott was trying to bring up is who the fuck are these characters, but Marvel waves the magic wand with properly building their fucking universe.
I agree, yeah.
And they make $700 million.
And I'm agreeing. I'm just saying I think the Marvel characters are somehow easier to write because there is something... They're more human already. But... Zack Snyder's best movies are the ones where he just copied a comic book kind of panel by panel. Yeah. You can do that. Hand him a Superman comic and say, do that. Copy that thing.
I like Watchmen. I thought Watchmen was great.
Yeah, until he shit the bed at the end. I really liked Watchmen.
How did he shit the bed at the end?
When he changed the ending to the bombs.
I think that was way better. If they would have did the big green crawly Cthulhu monster, I think that would have been
I see your point, but it changed the entire ending of the point of the book. We can talk about it off.
We'll talk about it off. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, dude, this is pretty much about what I expected. I did expect Scott to like it.
I did.
I thought that once I saw Steppenwolf, I was like, Scott's out. He's totally out.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
So
like I said, but it wasn't.
None of this shocks me. I know him too well.
Like when the opening scene with Superman, and you see that weird jawline, I was like, "What's happening?" Oh shit!
I didn't
the
really
mustache.
even pay attention to that.
And then I'm like, well, maybe it'll get a pass because it's the phone recording.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it happened again, and I was like,
I think my eyes were closed and I was praying at that point.
Well, for me, what really got me about Steppenwolf is that he had a human face. Like, his dimensions were very human. There isn't any reason they couldn't have mocapped
his face,
the actor, but just matted his face on the CGI armor.
A good friend of mine said, he goes, I think Zack Snyder owns part of that CGI company, which is why they use him. There's no other explanation.
No, there isn't. It's awful.
Yeah,
I'm like, look at Rogue One. Like, I mean, I wasn't like the hugest fan of the CGI in that, but at least they looked human. At least they looked like people instead of like.
Yeah,
I was like, this was like the final boss battle of Prince of Persia.
I think when it comes to this de-aging thing, well, I mean, I can't even really count it. I mean, the Hugh Jackman in Logan looked really good, but I mean, dude, all they did was just youth and him.
And
that's
he was
all
supposed to be kind of cyborgy.
Yeah, they kind of did it. But I mean, the one I was really impressed with was the Sean Young model done in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
the one that looked like Rachel was very, very well done. You could still tell, but it was extremely well done.
Michael Douglas, de-aged of Michael Douglas.
Oh, that was amazing.
That
that was incredible.
Why can't they do that in these movies? And here's the
other thing.
Because
it's expensive as fuck.
Here's the thing. I would rather that actor just standing there in like the old Steppenwolf collar.
Exactly.
I wanted, dude. When I saw the Steppenwolf character, and I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, dude, let's just use this actor, have him grow the Fu Manchu mustache with the futuristic looking Mongolian armor. At least he had the fucking battle axe.
Yeah.
But the version I remember him as, like, he had this backpack that he wore on his back that was like a battery. There was a cord that ran to the axe, and the axe was like a electric powered axe that like gave it more oomph,
This is all the New 52 shit, which, and that's fine, but let it be the guy, though.
Yeah, right.
Like in Nolan stuff, at least in Nolan stuff, none of that stuff was CGI'd out. Like, you know, I mean, there was some CGI there.
They were all
there,
formidable villains that were just like Red Skull is a great villain who's not 12 feet tall and completely CGI'd. It's just a dude, and like that's more interesting to me than like.
I guess even in Wonder Woman,
I thought it was the same guy from like it's almost the exact same guy as the Suicide Squad giant Egyptian boss. It was like it's the same fucking.
In
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Ares comes out and it's like, all right, it's a good movie. I'll give you a pass. But that was uncalled for. We didn't need that giant dude becoming a
Right.
giant.
Oh yeah, that I
They're
mean
all
axe
big dudes.
yielding.
that was
yeah.
the lamest part of the movie was the
was.
big throwdown.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
I think so.
As soon
And
as it's a
I was-
CGI fest.
I couldn't remember a thing about it. Like if you, a lot of those movies, I don't remember what happened. Even after I left Justice League, so a friend of mine brought up a scene. I'm like, oh right, that happened. Like it's completely forgettable. Can I tell you my when I almost yelled "fuck you" at the screen?
Yes.
So they're typing and they finally get Cyborg on the computer, right? And he's like, I know who you are and I know who you are. And then he shows her the two pictures of Batman and Wonder Woman, right?
Right.
And then the very next thing he says is like, something about like, do I know if I can trust you? It's Batman and Wonder Woman. You know who the fuck they are. Why
Right.
suddenly are you like, I don't know if I can trust you?
Yeah, and if
It's
Batman's
Batman
been
and Wonder
doing this
Woman.
for 20 years.
Exactly, and Wonder Woman just saved the planet. It's like, oh, now you're
Yeah.
doubting. You know who they are, but you're not sure.
Well, Batman
It's the
did
weirdest
kill
thing.
Superman.
Well, it's
Sort of.
it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think that regardless of what happens with this movie, I think that they're still committed, and I think they're going to make what they're going to make. But I think that as time goes on, as time does, you're going to see a lot less announcements coming out of that studio.
I agree with that, but
I think they're totally going to make another Batman movie. They're going to. He's the most profitable fucking character
Yeah.
in their thing, and they're going to get a guy that's going to come in there and they're going to do the do. And from what I hear is Matt Reeves, he's already announced today, he said it's connected to everything and all that stuff. But I'm willing to bet that even though, much like the Wonder Woman movie, it's connected to this universe, so to speak, it is going to stand on its own. Totally.
yeah, but how do they do that if they do want a Justice League
It's
movie?
easy. When you have
Hold
a
on.
fucking great writer and a great director, they
I
know
did-
how
I'm
to
not
do
talking
shit
about
like
that.
that.
Jeff Johns has literally said that Flashpoint is going to be corrective material. Like he flat out fucking said
It's gotta be.
this. You know what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop. We're gonna take inventory, and then Flashpoint.
But
is
dude,
going
but it's
to,
different though. It's not like when the foundation is built on shit, it makes no difference
Right,
because
so-
it's still
Yeah, well,
out there
if
in the
Flash-
world.
It's all like a desperate plea right now. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right.
It's
I
so
mean-
it's like, please like us.
So then the
So-
only thing they can do is stop.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Back to the Future. Remember how Marty goes back in time, fucks with shit, and comes back, and his life is better.
Well, that's
I
the
feel
only
like
thing
that's
it
what
can be.
I think.
That's-
I think
yeah,
that's
that's
what
Or
Flash
Days
is
of
gonna
Future
do.
Past.
But I don't think they can stop because the thing with it is, man,
Why
is
would
that
they? People are still seeing it.
I mean,
Yeah.
people are
Here's the
still-
thing.
But
There's a restaurant in town that I know if I eat there, I'm gonna get the shits, right? But I always go eat there. Like I've accepted it. Like I'm gonna eat this. I shouldn't go here, and I'm gonna shit my brains out later.
But do you
I'm
at least-
going,
but do
and I
you
think
at
that's
least-
exactly what the DC Cinema.
But do you at least like the food though?
Yes, the difference is I do like the food.
Right,
This
there is
I
a
know
difference.
I'm going,
So,
and
I
I'm gonna
mean-
watch a bunch of shit, and it's gonna make me feel bad
Well, dude,
afterwards.
take a
but
Prilosec and some fucking Imodium before you
I'm
go
just
and
gonna.
rock and roll,
I
man.
don't know. Unless you all rave about the next one, I don't know if I'll even bother. And as a
Yeah.
DC guy, that breaks my heart. You know.
what is the next one, by the way?
The next one's going to be Aquaman. That's the next
See?
one coming out.
That
Aqua
just
Bro.
another thing that the broness, like I said, but
It was too
the
much.
underwater stuff wasn't really awesome.
That was some murky water.
Yeah.
Right?
That,
Or was it me?
No, that was pretty murky. Like I don't know if I can sit through a whole movie of underwater fighting.
Unless they're gonna keep putting that air bubble out.
Even then,
Yeah, I mean, there's
it
no
remind
telling.
me of like Thor, the
Oh,
first
I just
Thor.
don't
When
care.
they're
It's-
If they're fighting a bunch of CGI instead of wasps, now they're CGI like piranha men. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't
after
care about this.
after this experience, yes, I'll still go see him because I mean I'm invested and I'm a DC guy, but I
Right.
won't be there opening day. It'll be this kind of shit. Okay, it's out. Let me look at my schedule this week. Yeah, I can make this time work. I'll go.
I will
It'll
go
be
see
like
Batgirl.
that. Oh yeah, I'll totally
see
go see
Batgirl.
that.
I mean, I'll be honest. It's predicated on what the critics say at this point.
I don't care. I'm not going to say that.
I'll see any
because
Marvel movie
you know
they
what?
shit out, but I'm not gonna do DC.
Yeah, I don't care about what the critics say about these movies.
No, because you're always
can
so,
obviously-
you always think the exact opposite. So why would you?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, you shouldn't even have to waste your time going to the movie. Just read what the critics say, agree opposite of what they do, and then
Just
you
come in
got
and
it.
talk. You can
There you go.
save.
And then that's it. You,
You can save some money.
You can be just like me.
Yeah.
Like I don't have
You
to
can
watch
be Bizarro,
Breaking Bad.
Chris.
I don't need to watch Breaking Bad because everybody told me
Exactly.
it's fantastic.
It
So
is
I've
really
accepted
good.
that. I've
Right.
accepted it. It's
should
good.
watch it.
It's
But-
the greatest show ever made. And there it is.
It
is really good.
It is really good.
Saved myself about what is it? 6 seasons? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 seasons, and how many episodes per season?
20.
20 and then
Oh,
at the
Jesus,
end,
I've
13
saved-
and 8.
I kind of
Fuck,
want to
dude.
go home and watch Breaking Bad.
I've
Yeah,
saved
no, I do
I've saved
too.
80 plus hours of my life.
Yeah.
I've saved 2 work weeks.
Think how many hours of your life you would have saved with Star Wars if you never saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Star Wars is awesome. So
I mean,
Right,
listen,
so
I
is
don't know how
Breaking
it-
Bad.
yeah, but it's not. Star Wars is not as awesome as Breaking Bad. So I mean, I do at least agree with
That is
that.
true.
So, right.
You saw the prequels. I mean, you've wasted some time.
It's right.
Yeah, dude, and I'll tell you that was I have to thank George Lucas for that. At least Episode 1 has learned how to kill my expectations.
Oh yeah, no.
That movie, like basically, like I
you grew up that day.
I put my right. I put my seat back, and Jar Jar Binks, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Qui-Gon Jinn like shit in my mouth.
Wait.
So that's what it was.
Do you know my story about that? I went and saw the midnight movie the night it came out.
Me
and
too.
I was like, I kind of have to pee. I was like, how long can this be? And the scroll started. By the end of the movie, I couldn't walk. I had to pee so bad because I had no idea how long it was going to be. So I'm like, I just watched one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen with like the worst pee cramps I've ever had in my life.
I would have just pissed in my
that's-
hand and threw it on the screen. I mean, that's
It was
Really?
awful.
that's
Like-
what I felt like doing.
I mean, I like midway through that film when they started talking politics, I was like, ooh,
Yeah, yeesh.
and then when they cut Darth Maul in half, I was like, that was the most intriguing part. Okay.
Yeah. He'll be back with robot spider legs.
That movie,
Yeah.
as soon I knew that movie, it took about probably 20 seconds into it, I realized how bad it was going to suck. As soon as the robots went,
Jar.
Roger, Roger, I was like, this
I'm
is
out.
going to
Done.
be
Yep.
fucking horrible. And I was right.
Yep.
So, but at least they're original. That's the new argument now on
Yeah.
the internet. At least they're original ideas, unlike The Force Awakens.
I'll take the
I'll take The Force
unoriginal
Awakens.
any day.
I'll watch The Force Awakens.
I'm not paying
20
for originality
times.
when I go buy a ticket.
Yeah,
Like, just,
right.
like, entertain me. That's all I
Just,
can.
yeah.
I mean, I'm down for originality when I buy a ticket, but I don't necessarily expect it.
But here's the thing, though. If originality, like, how long's the theater been going? How many productions have there been of Odd Couple throughout the years?
Oh,
It's not, like
countless.
you go see it because you like the story, right?
Right.
Right.
It's-
So-
it goes back to this
Yeah.
this Justice League thing. Don't invent no new shit. Just give us the stuff we know.
Yeah,
and
that's
we'll
all I
be
want.
happy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
just
they-
do a good
and
job.
that's the
Marvel's like,
problem.
you like War Machine? Have some fucking War Machine.
There were some,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
there were some scenes where they gave us exactly what we wanted, but the problem with it is that it's like sitting there and being like, "Hey, look, I just sat there and I sat there and I fed you a ton of crap. Oh, by the way, now here's a piece of chocolate cake. I can't get the taste of shit out of my mouth. I'm sorry."
I
little,
will
too
say,
late.
like, if they did release a Zack Snyder cut of it, I'd watch it strictly out
watch
of
it.
curiosity.
Yeah, me too.
Strictly out of curiosity because it was said to be unwatchable.
I would steal
You know?
one from Best Buy, throw it in the street,
Yeah.
and roll it over with my car.
And then
that's what
watch
I
it.
would do.
And it would make more
Fuck
sense.
that dude.
I really think he writes. He sits in rooms like, you know what'd be cool? Write this down.
Yes.
And that's
Yep.
as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
They just do all that shit. And
100%.
I saw a picture that they showed from when he was like, "Hey, look at these production. I'm writing out whatever you call them, storyboard stuff," and they showed like back in the day, like, what's he writing? What's this picture of? And it actually was the picture of Deathstroke walking up to
See Lex?
Lex. Yeah,
He's like the town goon, dude. And I think what it came down to when he made Batman versus Superman, he went and picked up probably 5 iconic Superman titles, and then he went and picked up the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns. He sat there and he flipped through the book. He realized what he thought would be really fucking cool. He sat there with a pair of scissors. He cut those panels out. He storyboarded that shit and
That's it.
come up with any kind of jalopy crap to make it all connect together.
Yeah.
What if that Lex Deathstroke scene would have happened at the beginning of the movie, and suddenly Deathstroke's just kind of spying on this
Yeah.
shit throughout, and at the end he comes back to kind of report, and they're like, we need our own. At least there's something happening behind the scenes that I'm invested in, but like just nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said, man, there was flashes of greatness that really made me happy about things, but then I sat there and looked at it, and I'm like,
Let me ask you,
Yeah.
did Iris West get cut from the movie?
yeah, she got cut.
Yeah.
She was on IMDb for a while, and the whole when he was in the prison, you could see like a black lady come sit down next to him, but they
Yeah.
never showed her face, and she was gone. And I was like, was that supposed to be Iris?
But I don't know. I don't know what it was supposed
She's
to
not,
be.
she's not even on IMDb
yeah,
anymore.
she was cut from the movie.
It's the typical Zack Snyder advertise-itis.
Well, that was
where he's
it.
just
Like the
cramming
trailer.
in.
The trailer had, I mean, up until a week ago, the trailer had that scene with Superman and Lois in the field, and he says something about waiting, or you waited for me, or I guess I knew your answer, or something like that. Not in the movie.
Right.
Like he
Right.
says that, and she pulls.
Yeah,
on
but
the
that's
ring.
becoming popular now. There's so much cut now stuff, and I think that another thing too is it's an industry thing. I don't think it's so much even crappy movies per se. I think the thing with it is that the technology of cinema has become so efficient.
Yeah.
I think the thing with it is that they change and they sit back and they're like, man, we can fucking correct this really quickly. Well, look, we got all of this bonus footage that's sitting around here and all this stuff.
Right.
It's not going to make the movie. Fuck it. Let's make it part of the trailer and we don't have to give up anything.
And I'm
then
kinda
nobody
okay
can
with that
bitch
if it's-
that the good
yeah.
parts
Me too.
were in the trailer.
No,
you know?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm becoming okay with it because for a while I was like, well, where was that thing? And now it's like, well, I guess you don't really
Yeah.
need it.
I don't really care. I
also-
just want a good movie.
And also, I thought he was gonna be the black suit Superman with the silver.
Yeah, me too.
Thing.
all thought that.
Because they posted a picture of it.
But wait, but where did I get that from?
He posted a picture.
Zack Snyder did?
Of,
Yeah.
no. What's
Henry
his name?
Cavill?
Yeah,
Henry Cavill, yeah.
He posted a picture of the suit, like an up close shot of the black suit, and you can kind of see a little bit of the S. And people lost their minds.
Well, he
and then
fooled
all
us
of
all.
a sudden,
I'm-
they started posting pictures of this black suited Superman, which was obviously Photoshop, but that's.
I'm
and
wondering
you'd
if
see
maybe
it
they-
more.
Because I was
May-
wondering where I got
or-
that from.
I'm wondering if maybe they digitally
Right.
changed the color,
Yeah.
and that's why it looked like sequins.
There
Yeah.
might have been a black
You know?
suit in there
Right.
the whole time. But the thing with it is they sat there and said, we're not going to go with this trash. We want
Right.
to put him back the way people want him. Put him in sky blue with a scarlet cape. Anything dark has to be taken away from this character because we want to change the tone of
Well,
things.
it's pointless. It would
No.
be pointless to just have him
Wow.
emerge
Now I feel
in
like
the
I
black.
just watched an entire reshoot.
Yeah, well, you did.
Right, yeah.
You
So
did.
now I kind of do want to see Zach's original
if
idea.
you
Yeah,
want to
kinda.
see, if you want to see,
Good, you'll
this
change
is
your mind.
this.
Maybe it will. But no, wait, hold on. Just to say real fast, it actually would change my mind if I saw Zach's movie and was like, and I felt the same way, like, all right, I see what he was doing, but whatever. And then realize that this entire movie was just one big, let me
Fixing his
let me
fuck-ups.
fix his fuck ups,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was.
I understand, but like to the point of the CGI mouth and like we're talking about
But
the
Scott,
costume.
in defense, and I'm not busting your balls. Look, you like Batman versus Superman.
Right.
You like that movie. You never know. You might like Zack Snyder's cut based
That's
on
what
what
I'm
it
saying.
presented. Me personally, I'm over it. I'm over it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, like
So-
if I see his name on something, I'm just not going to bother. He just can't tell us an original story. He just can't.
Yeah.
Anymore, right?
Well,
yeah.
do we have anything to add to this, gents? Because we're out of time
time.
here. So
We could probably talk 3 more hours about it.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
the
We
could.
fucking
yeah,
point?
we could.
totally.
But
No.
all right, cool, man. Look, check out Not Real Radio. Check out Czar, Ali, and Mayday over there. Look, and also check out Chad and Mark over on Scary Thoughts. Also, we ask you to visit rivertowntheaters.com. Also, go see, they're on their holiday break, but go see what Gary has coming up in the schedule.
Good stuff.
Always, man, great production and not a bad seat in the house over there, man. It's fantastic.
Thanks, fellas.
Also jump over to us over, Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar, or PPV Guys on iTunes. We ask that you subscribe. Do the same from our friends. Please give us a 5-star review. Don't be a fucking cock and give us a 2 or 3. Give us a 5. And if you're a true fan of the show, leave us a review. Please. Thank you. Check out ppvguy.com for previous episodes. You like that, huh?
If that doesn't do it, I don't know what
that's
will.
it. Well, dude, it's it. Don't be a fucking prong, dude. Fucking give us 5 stars. All right, man. Well, thanks for listening and seeing.